lovelies, my name is Ashley. Welcome back to A Little Book Nerd. If you saw my last video, I talked about how I'm coming back to booktube, and here I am. This is the first official video I'm filming after deciding to come back to booktube and making my back to booktube video. The first video I'm filming is going to be my February TBR video. I have a lot of videos that I'm filming or pre-filming today because if you watched my back to booktube video, you'll know that I have a busy semester coming up, and so I'm doing a lot of pre-filming until I kind of figure out my filming schedule. So I'm filming like a February TBR today, I'm doing a book haul, I'm doing some 2017 goals and releases and things like that, so you'll see plenty coming up for me in the coming weeks. I'm super excited to get back into this. Today I'm just doing a February TBR. I'm also going to be doing a winter TBR because not only am I going to do monthly TBRs, I'm also going to do plans kind of for the season to give me it's more for me than anything else, but it's kind of to give me a guideline as to what I would like to get through each season. So that way I kind of have a plan for the future and a current plan as well, because if I don't plan things, I never do things. So today, February TBR, let's just jump right into it so this video is not 10 hours long. So for the month of February, I plan on reading a couple of things. Some of the things I'm already halfway into, some of the things I am reading currently, actually all the things I'm pretty much reading currently, because I started reading them already. And it was originally going to be a January TBR, but I'm not positive I'll be able to finish these books by the end of January, just because I have been a little bit busy. But so I'm making it into a February TBR and just adding a few books onto it, so that when I do finish the books that I'm currently reading, I have things to continue on with. The first book I want to talk about that I'm going to be reading. Originally, I had the previous book on my TBR, but I just finished that a few days ago, so I took it off because now I'm not reading it. So the first book I want to read for the month of February is The Crown by Erafire. In between December and January, I read the first 3 books in the series, which are The Selection, The Elite, and The One, which are up here. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. I read the first 3 books. They're technically their own little trilogy, but then Erafire had decided to add 2 more books onto the series. The original 3 books are basically about a girl named America Singer who lives in a dystopian kind of world where everyone is separated into castes, and that each caste determines like what you can do with your life basically and how much money you have essentially. And there's this thing called the Selection, which is for the prince of the kingdom, Prince Maxon, to find himself a wife and a queen. And the first 3 books are basically about America's adventures and her moving through the selection. The last 2 books in the series, which are The Heir and The Crown, are about their daughter named Evelyn. In The Heir, she starts her selection, meets a bunch of guys. The Crown is the end of the series, basically. I just finished reading The Heir about a week ago, so I will include that in my February wrap-up. It's more of a January-February wrap-up, so I will include that in there. So the first book I plan on reading throughout the month of February and the end of this month is The Crown. I'm actually hoping to have it finished by the time February starts. The second book I want to talk about for the month of February that I plan on finishing, I'm already about halfway through it, is Erafire by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series, which is, if you're not familiar with the series, is about a girl named Selena Sardothian who lives in a fantasy series. She is an assassin who gets taken out of a salt slave mine to participate in a competition to be the king's champion, which is basically his person that he can go and kill people, essentially. And oh my god, it's such a super good series. I tried to read this book back when I was first starting booktube. If you go back to like my August TBR or anything, something like that, you'll see that I was reading this back then. I never finished it. I got like 100 pages into it, and it was just a really bad time for me to read it. I found it was really boring. But after getting through like the first 25% of the book, I am really into it. I'm about halfway through it. You won't see a bookmark or anything because again, I'm reading it on ebook. But oh my god, I'm in love with this book. I'm in love with Rowan. I am in love with Selena's character development. And this book is amazing. About halfway through and I can't wait to finish it. And because I plan on finishing it long before February is over, I also plan on reading Queen of Shadows, also by Sarah J. Maas, which is the 4th book in the Throne of Glass series, which is huge. How many pages is it? This is over 600 pages long, not quite 700, but it's probably about like 650 pages. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I don't know what the 4th book is about because I don't like to find out what happens later on in the series. But the next book I plan on reading for the month of February is Woman Who Rides Like a Man by Tamora Pierce. It is the third book in the Song of the Lioness quartet by her. It is literally my favorite series in the whole world. I've literally read this series probably like 6 or 7 times. Not this book so much because this book wasn't always my favorite growing up, but reading it again, I'm really enjoying it. I'm probably about halfway through it as well. It is the third book in a series about a girl named Ilana who trades places with her twin brother when she is young to get sent to the palace to learn how to be a knight, while her brother gets sent to like a coven kind of place to learn magic. You know, it's in a world where women aren't really supposed to be knights or anything, so it's very much a book about like women empowerment, things like that. And it's also just a really very interesting series that I completely adore, and I'm on like a goal, like a quest to read everything Tamora Pierce has ever written. So I am working my way through the series again because it kind of starts things for me, sort of. Then the next book I am planning on finishing for the month of February, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I am reading this book on audiobook that I downloaded from Scribd, which again, I will probably have a video just on Scribd at some point or something, or I will talk about it more in a different video because it is a subscription service for ebooks and audiobooks. For $10 a month, you get 3 credits for ebooks and 1 credit for an audiobook. And they have a very generous selection. They don't always have everything, and they don't always have like the newer stuff. So they have a lot of stuff, and then honestly, whatever I can't get off of Scribd or whenever I run out of credits, I just get more stuff off Amazon for my Kindle. But I really like it. It's a great service, I think, so far. I've only done it for 1 month, but most of my ebooks that I've been reading have come off there for this month. And I got the audiobook for Percy Jackson, which I read off a Bluetooth speaker on my phone in the car because I don't have like a Bluetooth speaker in my car, so I have to take one with me. And so I am not sure how far I am into it. I am probably not even halfway through it because I only have about 40 minutes several times during the week to read it because I only read it in the car. Then the next couple books that I have to read are all things I need to read for student teaching because I need to read the books that I am going to be teaching to the classes that I am dealing with during the day as I'm student teaching. Most of these are classics. Some of them I'm not too thrilled about reading for various reasons, but I have to read them nonetheless. And let's be honest, it counts towards my Goodreads goal for the year, so it all works out for me in the end anyway. So first, I am reading The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Yes, I have read The Great Gatsby before. No, I cannot stand this book. I am not a fan of Great Gatsby. It's one of those books where, to me, it's like if you weren't all a bunch of idiots, you could have had a happy ending. Or at least more of a happy ending. I don't know. I just really don't like the characters. I don't really like the story. It's not one of my favorite things in the world. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate because I know The Great Gatsby is so many people's like favorite book. I've never even seen the movie, but we're probably watching it next week in class anyway, so who cares. Next, I have to read Animal Farm by George Orwell. It's an allegorical book about animals running their own farm. It's all about like the government and things like that. There's a pig in here named Napoleon who's a douche. It's interesting. I am interested in the story, but the writing bores the bananas out of me. Next up for school that I have to read is The Secret Life of Bees. I've heard of this book, never read it, never looked at the summary, so I'm not entirely sure what it's about. As far as I can tell, it is set in 1964 in South Carolina about a girl who is taken in by black beekeeping sisters. And it's a remarkable novel about divine female power, a story that women will share and pass on to their daughters for years to come. I actually think this book sounds really interesting, so I'm really excited to read it. And then the last book that I need to read right now for school that I'm super, super excited about because I've never read it and I keep meaning to, it is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. And look at this copy. Like, this is like rare for a school because it's like a brand new copy that they got. And so if I enjoy it, I plan on buying that really nice fancy white edition that came out recently. The next book I want to talk about for February is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I think it's Rainbow Rowell. It's not Rainbow Rowell, is it? Rowell. I'm pretty sure it's Rowell. But I am reading Fangirl. I am probably about a quarter of the way through it. I don't know if you would consider that a third. I'm somewhere between a quarter and a third of the way through it. This is a contemporary novel, which is rare for me because I don't really read contemporary. So the fact that I am reading this speaks a lot to how much I'm enjoying it. It's about a girl named Cass who has like social anxiety issues, and she writes a lot of fan fiction, and she's basically me. and a fictional character. And it's basically just her journey through college, kind of figuring out who she is. And it's a really good read so far, so I'm really enjoying it. Can't wait to finish it. The second to last book I want to talk about for the month of February that I plan on finishing is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is a fantasy kind of historical retelling about Jane Grey, who was basically made Queen of England at some point, and she was only Queen of England for like a week, and then she got beheaded. And this is like a fantasy kind of retelling. It has people that turn into animals, and I've heard it's hilarious, and I'm about yay far into it, so maybe a quarter of the way through, and I'm laughing, and it's hilarious, and I absolutely love the characters and love their writing. And it's just a standalone, but it's fantastic, and I highly recommend it so far. Finally, the last book I want to talk about that I plan on reading is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. I've never read a Lauren Oliver book before, but I'm super excited to read some Lauren Oliver because all of her books are books I desperately need to read, but have not actually read. The movie comes out March 3rd, so I'm trying to read the book before the end of February, so that way I can have read it before the movie comes out. It's basically about a girl who kind of has everything going for her, and then she tragically dies one night and is stuck reliving the same day that she dies on over and over and over again, making changes to it. And it sounds super interesting. I really want to read it. It's been on my TBR for a long time, even before I started BookTube, and I've always been meaning to read it, never have, and now this movie gives me a really good opportunity to check out the book. Those are all the books I plan on reading for the month of February. I might add books to that if I've finished reading books. Depends on how much time I have and what my schedule is and things like that, so that's just a very tentative list right now. At the very least, I plan on reading at least all of the books I am currently reading. Definitely getting to Before I Fall by the end of February, because I require to read that before the movie comes out, because I need to see the movie.